Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. Not really much to say about this one except for, I don't know, thanks to everyone who watched the stream on Tuesday, the return stream of 2K22. The first ever show of PBW vs ABW in 2K22. It was pretty damn great. And basically got 5 albums to go through for this, so let's just do that. We start in Stockholm, Sweden for Crashdiet and their 6th album, What Song It's On. This is my first album by them, their first album in 3 years. I'm not terribly familiar with this band. But I am familiar with the guest star of Michael Starr, who's been known for his work as the lead singer of Steel Panther. He appears on one of the songs of this album. But yeah, I knew absolutely nothing about these guys going in. They're a glam metal leaning sort of hard rock group, which means there's plenty of sleaze. And you know what? I do enjoy a good bit of sleaze from time to time, giving this album a B. It's just got some really good melodies to it, as you would expect from like something that would have come out like in the 80s. But yeah, this is a band that absolutely lives up to that sort of like style. They take themselves a bit more seriously, which I do sort of think is a rarity for this genre, but it does work. They played really well. The lead guitarist, whose name is, give me a moment, Martin Sweet. He's pretty damn good. That's not his real name, it's more of a Swedish name, but that one's just easier to say. And yeah, everyone's pretty solid on this one. It's got really good production going for it. I think the lyrics are something that do hold it back a little bit because it does lean into those older like tropes that I was never a big fan of even back then, because I wasn't born in the 80s, but I grew up around like a time where the music was still pretty popular and didn't care much for that sort of thing back then. However, Crashdiet have done their best to make it tolerable. They do come across as quite tongue-in-cheek charming. And honestly, this is just a really good bit of shit from them. So if you need some sleaze, if you need some damn good sleaze, this is damn good sleaze. Next we go to Oslo, Norway for the Nika Rights and their debut album, Derelict. So these are a band who I knew absolutely nothing about, which is no surprise as it's a debut album from a band from a country which I don't really check out a lot of music from, although I know Norway is more known for its metal and stuff. Not so much its punk, however, I wish it would put out more, and this album also gets, much like Crashdiet's album, it gets a B. There are a lot of things I really liked about this. I like the political lean of the lyrics, I like how fast-paced the structuring was for the most part. It's got some really good breakdowns, and hardcore punk is a genre I love. I don't think that's really any surprise to anyone who actually watches my videos, which is, maybe one person every 3 months, so that's up by what it was last year. But yeah, there's some hard-working and heartfelt performances from the band members themselves. The lyrics do have a really good point to them. I do think that the songs on the album, I don't know why I said it so weirdly, occasionally they can drag on a little bit, but they do build up to some really big stuff. And mostly, yeah, it's just a really solidly put together bit of hardcore punk, and can't really ask for much more than that. Next we go to Muskoek, Hungary for Paddy and the Rat and their 6th album, From Wasteland to Wonderland. Now these are a band who, in contrast to Crashdiet and the Nika Rights, I'd heard about before. I'd listened to a couple of songs from them, and because they're a Celtic punk band, I just thought, oh, they're from Ireland, or maybe somewhere in America that sounds Irish enough. No, I didn't know they were from Hungary until I was actually doing the research for this album, when I was finding stuff to listen to for last weekend. So yeah, that was actually a big surprise to me. However, not an unwelcome one. And honestly, this also gets a B. I do think, right, the album strengths lie when it's going for the more like Celtic folk style. When it's got more banjo action, more guitar action, more accordion, and like things like that. But there's weird pop elements mixed in from the production that don't fit in super well. For the most part, it is a really like honest feeling album, but I know there's just chunks of the production that do take away from it. I don't know if I said I gave it a B, but I do. It does get a B. It does have some really nice moments to it, and the band themselves actually come across as really great performers. This is also their first without, their accordionist, Bernie Bellamy, who passed away probably some point late last year, because they announced it at the start of this year, literally on the first day, January 1st of this year, so rest in peace to Bernie. And he puts in a really good last performance, presuming that he did actually do work with this as like his last album with them before he died. So yeah, really good stuff from him. Again, like the criticism I have is not with the band itself, it's not with the lyrics, it's with the poppy stuff that doesn't fit in super well, but when it sticks to its strengths, it's really strong. Next we go to a band who are pretty well known, who I have covered before, Rammstein, with their 8th studio album, Zeit, which is German for time. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with Rammstein's sound by now, and it is a bit harsh to say every Rammstein song sounds the same, but on this album it is a bit more so than usual. I am still giving this also a B. That is 4 Bs in a row if you're keeping up. No B pluses, no B minuses, just Bs. Bzz. And yeah, I am pretty familiar with them. I've only listened to one album by them, which was their last album, which was Untitled. But they did actually expect that to be their last album, but then the pandemic kicked in. They didn't have a lot of shit to do, so they just decided to get to work on this one, and it is your typical Rammstein fare. It is that industrial leaning, like, new Deutsch Hard or new German hardness sort of style. I love the fact that they refer to their music as that, by the way. That's actually kind of cool, and a little bit funny. However, what's less funny is the fact that Till Lindemann is almost 60, and he's still singing songs about his penis. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the main criticism I have against Rammstein. It's not that their songs sound the same, but they, you know, like I said, Till, he's the oldest member, he's almost in his 60s, like, their youngest member is fucking 50 now, and they still find excuses to talk about their penises, and there's songs about plastic surgery, and big boobs. But there's also more heartfelt songs like Aging, and the title track is one of my favourites, probably my favourite from this album. If they stuck to that a little bit more, then I think it could have worked, but yeah, it's still really good, obviously. A B is not like anything to sneeze at, but it's probably my least favourite B that I've given in quite a while. It's mostly just because of the band's reputation, you know. I will never lay claim to being the biggest Rammstein fan, but yeah, I don't know, I think they've never been a band that have given a shit about tonal consistency, and I do appreciate them for it, but I wish that they would try and pretend that they care a little bit more. I did forget to mention that Rammstein are from Berlin, Germany, but people probably already knew that. They're the most popular band I've covered in this video. Less popular, though, is a band from Shanghai, China, so if you're keeping up, none of the bands I've covered from today have been from traditionally English-speaking countries. However, Spill Your Guts, who are from Shanghai, are here with their second album, The Wrath It Takes, and the band members are from different parts of the world. Two of the members are Canadian, from Quebec specifically. One of the members is from Russia, one's from Malaysia, and one is from Scotland. So it is an interesting mix of people. But yeah, this is their second album, The Wrath It Takes. It's their first album in 5 years. And it's an A. I really enjoyed this one. It's a solid as hell mixture of like hardcore punk and black metal in a style which the band describes, and I will also describe as black and hardcore, because that sounds fucking awesome, honestly. This album actually has a lot more going for it than I thought it would. It's the only album of the 5 that I actually listened back to, because I wasn't sure about my initial feelings on it, but when I went back through it and dug it up a bit more, I found myself enjoying it a lot more. It's also the only album from this pack 5 that doesn't stretch to 40 minutes. This album is only 30 minutes and a half long. It's the shortest album of this entire video. And it has a lot more going for it than the previous 4 did, who, you know, the longest is like, of the previous 4 is like 46 minutes or something like that. Somewhere around that time frame. I was surprised at how much this album actually fit into its small time frame, and the band members themselves put in some incredible performances. I love the production on this thing. It was produced by Scott Middleton, formerly of Cancer Bats, so that's a really good person to get producing your second album. And yeah, this is just amazing stuff all around. Lyrically, it's fantastic as well, with a really good focus on like political corruption. The album cover is one of my favourites of like this year as well, because it's like a religious style painting that Michelangelo would have done, but with police and riot gear. One of them's fighting a horse. I find that kind of cool. But the band do have a lot to say, obviously, and I am looking forward to hearing what they say next, because holy hell, this was absolutely impressive. Hopefully I won't have to wait another 5 years for the next one. Do I don't really have a lot of self-promotion to do, except for tonight I'll see for the for my continuation of the Day of the Tentacle Let's Play, and after I'm done streaming that, I will also put up the War of Attrition full show now that that's been edited. I was going to put it up last night, but I ran into a complication of my disk space being a bit low, so I had to sort that out, and it's up on YouTube under private. I will make it public later. I don't want to do it immediately after this video's over, so yeah, I'll do it tonight after I've streamed, and then next thing you'll see for that is probably Fight of the Night review. And if Justin Gaethje vs Charles Oliveira is not the fight of the year, I'm going to be very fucking surprised. And then on Monday, very brief history of The Strokes, and on Tuesday, the full backtracking episode of The Strokes. So that's about all I have planned, and I will see you all for that. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye. Oh, fucking hell. Most recommended albums, Spill Your Guts, The Wrath It Takes, although all these albums were great. Okay, now, thank you for watching. You're awesome. Bye-bye.